Dan, I am going to ask you to disregard the light whir of the electric motor in the background of my microphone for today's episode.
Oh, well, I'm not noticing anything, really.
Oh, it's because I am sitting next to my space heater as I try to not freeze to death here this morning in our late April morning of Northeast Ohio. What
Yeah,
the heck? Who turned off spring?
I was gonna try to not bring up the weather, but this past weekend the weather was crazy. It was
Yeah,
nuts.
well, it is right now. It's in the mid 20s outside, and we got rain all day. Well, for the last 2 weeks, and it's all frozen now. Everything's frozen. I had to scrape my windshield this morning. And I am the type where I shut off my outdoor wood furnace. I let the fire go out a little bit after Easter. We had a stretch of like 70-degree, 80-degree weather, and I just let the fire go out. And now the next thing is 20, 23 degrees outside. What the heck?
Fire her back up. Yeah,
Hey,
mine
whiz.
mine is still burning. And last week we had Friday 77, Saturday 40, Sunday 30, and we had snow.
Wow.
But now by Tuesday, we're going to be back into the 60s and 70s and even 80 on Wednesday.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I keep thinking about, gosh, I'm just tired of being cold. But I think if I had to choose between this and like 80 degrees, I would choose this.
Yeah, it is a little. That was the one thing that wasn't so bad about the 40, 45 degrees on Saturday. But the wind was blowing, making it cold.
Yeah, you can't. I think of all weather phenomenon, the wind is my least favorite. Despite rain and snow and cold and hot, I don't like the wind. It disorients me.
Not when it's cold. Heck no.
Ugh, gosh. Yeah, well, I saw some cold people this weekend on some YouTube videos, and they were not of me, although I was cold. But I saw some cold people, and Dan, you were one of them.
I was a little chilly this weekend over there at the Midwest Firewood Frenzy,
Oh, wow.
but it was still a good time. It was still good. You just had to dress accordingly. I had my long insulated pants on with a long sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie, and another jacket and gloves.
Yeah. Maybe they should start holding the Midwest Firewood Frenzy in the South. Let it get down to some warmer weather this time of year.
Well, they moved it to April to avoid the heat and the rain of June, but
Yeah.
now we got the cold and the snow of April. So
Ugh.
I guess you
Well, it
just gotta
wasn't
go with-
raining. You didn't get rained on, which had been the history
Yes, that's right.
leading up to this weekend. So you didn't get wet, but it looked to be uncomfortably cold, especially if you were one of the people standing around doing nothing, Dan, like you. Our good friend Bob Nelson looks like he was probably not cold. He was running around like a crazy man.
The Bob Nelson, I think, may have put on 20 to 30 miles on his app that tracks his steps that day because he was running around everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And I found they had those Wolf Ridge fire pits. They had 3 of them fired up. And I found a place next to one of those, and I just stood there and I stayed nice and toasty warm all day.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you can only get one side warm at a time, though.
Yeah, that was part of the challenge. But it wasn't that cold, so
Uh-huh.
it was still good.
Was there sunshine, though, to like take the bitterness off of it, or was it just foul and gray?
Every now and then the sun would poke through and kind of you could feel when it did because it would
Mhm.
warm up, and so it was off and on.
And was there a big party tent that you could go under so that all of the heat from people would radiate up to the ceiling and then back down and make everything about 20 degrees warm.
Well, there was a big tent set up for next to the food truck. But the problem was the wind was coming in the one side and would just come in and swirl inside.
Ugh.
And it was like an ice box in there.
Oh my gosh.
So the best place was there was actually 5 fire pits burning.
Oh wow.
So that was the best place, around one of those fire pits.
Huh. All right. And then what kind of food did they have at the food truck?
Big Papa's barbecue. So there was pulled pork, pulled chicken, or barbecue chicken, beef tips, all that kind of stuff.
With barbecue sauce?
Yep. I had
Wow.
it was called loaded mac and cheese.
Oh
With
wow.
barbecue chicken was like the loaded part in the mac and cheese and the barbecue sauce, and it was very good. It hit the spot, let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So what had been up there though? A lot of rain. Was the ground like squishy and mud? Did you have to wear boots? Was
Nope.
the mud getting churned up there?
No, everything else was perfect. It was,
Oh
I
wow.
mean, and even the temperature, being a little chilly wasn't that big a deal. It was
Uh-huh.
still, for the Wolf Ridge demo days, I don't think they could have asked for a better situation. And the setup, again, I think Bob Nelson, his expertise and his talents really were shining through with the way everything was set up. The layout of the whole grounds and the machines was just it was really cool.
Uh-huh. So that is something I learned off of Bob a number of years ago. And what he would point out is that when you show up to a trade show, you just don't like set out all of your equipment and that's it. There's a method behind it. And it depends on where your booth is, if you're in a straight line or if you're on a corner lot, and how people will walk through it. He said that if you set up your booth wrong, it could be uninviting to people. And he was pointing some of them out to me. When I was in Maine, I saw a couple booths that were like that, where I felt like you would be walking in on someone's campsite when you walked into it. So I wouldn't
Yes.
go into it. And the way that you position machines so that they can be seen and people can walk up to them. So I could bet that that's exactly, Bob had applied his skills and his experience and his craft to the way that whole yard was set up.
There was a flow to it. Like you would come
Yeah.
in and you could just sense, and it showed too, because people would come in and there was always people, at different machines, and then when one would fire up, people would go over and watch it. And in the middle, the hub, the central location, was the Wolf Ridge like tent with all of the, all the information if you want anything. So yeah, that was great. It was, you could
Uh-huh.
see everything, no problem, and the flow of moving around between machines was perfect. And there was even a machine there that debuted for the very first time ever seen in the US.
Oh, wow. What was it?
Well, I wonder if I can say. I
You're
suppose I
leaving me in suspense. I mean, well, what the heck? It was at a trade show. I would think, yes, you can.
well, see, and this actually is kind of one of the things that, and I don't want to sound like negative Nancy here or the cynical cat, but but it's one of
Danny
the things
Downer.
it's one of the things that got me thinking when I was just hanging out there. So like right there, what I just did to you, I mentioned something, and you kind of had this thing called FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like
Yeah.
you want to know something that happened or see something, but you weren't able to. And that's kind of like one thing I look at as what kind of makes these shows unique. But that's kind of been changing with social media and just, I guess, I don't want to say, I don't know if oversaturation is the right word or not.
Yeah.
But
When I
anyway,
when I hear FOMO, I think of FOMOCO, Ford Motor Company. It was That was stamped on like some parts and like the little glass of your radio in your 1970s era Ford.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that we used to use it a lot, like way even back in the day of the wrestling days, like where you wouldn't want to let everyone in on everything going on because then they had no reason to come and see the next show. And so I think sometimes there's just an oversaturation where people will say, well, I don't need to go to that show because I'll just wait till the next month, or I don't need to worry about going and seeing that because I'll just see, 50 YouTube videos about it.
Yeah. So you're telling me that there was a new machine new to the US market at the Midwest Firewood Frenzy brought to you by the Wolf Ridge Log Splitter Company, and you're not going to tell me what it is.
That is correct.
Oh
There was a
gosh.
machine
Yeah.
that was seen running for the very first time. It had only been fully assembled and put together the Tuesday before, and it was awesome.
Go figure.
It
Go
really
figure.
was. It was something to see,
Uh-huh.
and it people whenever that thing was running, people were gravitating towards it, and just I mean, a lot of people. It generated a lot of interest and a lot of buzz.
So you're saying that time stood still when this machine
Oh
was running.
yeah, it was amazing.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just have to use my imagination on this, Dan.
Well, like I said, I don't know. Maybe I suppose I can spill the beans here on the Woodhounds podcast since we are the number one firewood podcast in the world.
Yeah, last time I checked.
Yep. So this machine was part of the Fuelwood line. It is the Splitta 600. Now,
600.
what makes this machine special is that it can take up to a 16-inch length round, so a regular size firewood round, and it runs through the X knife, and out comes perfect, amazing looking firewood. It is so it's like the Kinlet, like the Fuelwood line has
Yeah.
certain size restrictions on like the diameter and the length, how long you can split.
Uh-huh.
So this will take up to a 20-inch diameter round that is 16 inches long
Holy cow.
and run it through this massive beast of an X knife.
Oh boy.
And out the other end, it's just amazing looking firewood.
So it's not a processor with a saw on it though. You have to like put the logs in a chute.
Yep. It's
And
so
they
they have
roll on their sides.
yes, they had the
Okay.
Splitta 400, which will do up to a 12-inch round, a length. And now this is the 600, the big brother, the big granddaddy of them all that, does the regular length, 16-inch firewood.
So the Splitta 600 is probably about 200 basis points better than the Splitta 400.
If I am doing my calculations correct, you are right.
So is
Yes.
this Splitta, is it made in Boston or something, New England?
No, that's the name.
Because
From
if it was
Fuelwood.
made anywhere else, it would be a splitter.
I think that's the unique naming convention to Fuelwood
Okay.
because they have.
I met the Fuelwood guys, and they're super cool. Martin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very,
Yes.
very neat guys. Yeah.
Yeah. He actually was messaging me earlier today, getting my thoughts on the 600. But
So is it electric or is it gas?
it is a gas powered machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a real big engine to get that to work right, or is it?
I think it's
Do you know
just
the size of it?
the Honda whatever was like on
Something.
the Yappas.
So like a 2-cylinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I was too busy just watching the logs go in
Uh-huh.
and the wood come out. It's one of these things where it's a little deceiving because it's not splitting super fast, but it's kind of like that old tortoise and hare, fable. It's like
Right.
it just keeps going. It doesn't stop. So
Uh-huh.
it just keeps putting out wood and you just keep putting rounds in. So it was pretty amazing.
Huh. I'll have to look into that. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that
And although Firewood Square, I would
yes,
imagine.
it looks
Yeah.
like it came out of a box wedge and it's crazy to think of a round piece of wood going
Yeah.
through an X-shaped knife but getting perfect square pieces.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's
That kind
kind
of
of crazy.
reminds me, you gave me a flashback of my baseball days. I always pointed out how challenging and illogical the instruction from the hitting instructors were because they give you a round bat and a round ball and they tell you to hit the ball squarely. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't add up. You know, square peg, round hole, all that stuff that you were taught as a kid. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a descriptor of my professional career, is that I was always a round peg at a square hole. I never really fit into any of the places that I worked at. I was always I don't know what the right word is. I mean, I wasn't disruptive or anything, but I'm not a tribalist, so I'm an individual.
The black sheep. You were the
Yeah.
black sheep of the family.
Yeah, but not anymore. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being a sole proprietor. I don't have to worry about that anymore, except in this job, my boss is a jerk and my only employee is lazy.
Yeah, you're in a rough situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the crowd like up there, Dan?
It was good. It was, I'd say, probably the same as last year. I mean, it's not a full blown trade show, expo type shows. It's a Wolf Ridge demo days show.
Uh-huh.
Um, I believe every machine they had there was either sold or sold that day. So it's kind of like an
Wow.
opportunity for people to come pick up their machines, um, and or order a machine and pick it up there. Um, so yeah, it was a good crowd. They did the factory tours again, which was a big hit. It was
Uh-huh.
it was interesting because like I was talking to somebody and I turned around and no one was around because everyone had gone and left to go on the factory tour.
So that was your chance to get some free food when
Yeah.
everyone left. Yeah. So were there other, I guess, okay, so everything there is Wolf Ridge, but were there like other peripheral kind of people there, like chainsaw carvers or palm readers, psychics, anything like that?
There was the Northern Woodsman, the guy that sells all the firewood bags. He was there. There was a rotating pallet fork company there, Torque Forks,
Oh
that
wow.
spinning pallet forks,
Uh-huh.
and then just like all the other like Wolf Ridge stuff, like the wrappers, the bundlers. I don't think there was anybody else. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
All right. Did you charge a fee at any time while you're up there?
I did not. Um, no.
Because charging fees is the way to go.
Right. I should have. I was prepared to, but again, it's just it gets, I don't know, not really distracting, but you get talking with people and you get chatting with others, and then all of a sudden the day is over, and like I didn't
Uh-huh.
even get a chance to take out my camera or anything to capture any footage.
Too cold, Dan.
Well, it was, it's just, again, I kind of got thinking, and it's just like, you know, maybe we're starting to, maybe it's not really the industry, but like everyone is almost getting to oversaturate even like social media. I don't know.
With the trade shows, you mean, or the videoing at them, you mean?
Yeah, it's. I mean, the thing I fear, and I might be just completely crazy, but I've been to events where like you can't take any video or footage because that event wants their show to be exclusive to them. So
Yeah.
like, can you imagine what would happen at Paul Bunyan if all of a sudden they didn't allow filming? Like how many, because like you walk around down there and like everyone's got their camera out shooting
Uh-huh.
footage of something.
Yeah. Well, I had always felt that Paul Bunyan should be more accommodating, really. I think that the social media people, the Facebookers, the YouTubers and TikTokers have provided a service to them, you know? Um, I'm just speaking from my own viewpoint here, too, being the organizer of the International Firewood Expo 2026. I would love to have as many YouTubers in the world to come,
Right, but then
I
that's
see it as a way to, get the message out.
but but you're getting the message out after the event.
Yeah.
That's the only downside. So like if all the social media people would work as hard promoting an event as they did making content at the event, that's a different story.
Uh-huh.
But after the event's over, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so me and you, let's just talk about you and me here. We kind of have a lead up to the Paul Bunyan show, we
Yeah.
talk about if you're going, are you going, your live stream, you talk about it, you're
Yep.
encouraging people to come and go to the hotel. And I know that I promote my own thing, but I mean, what the heck? It's mine.
I would hope you would.
Yeah, I'd hope I would. Yeah, don't come to my don't come to my show. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Well, you're not trying to say it. You did say it. That well, how about I think maybe look at it like this. The subject is the firewood industry. So the social media population, the trade shows, the publications are all peripheral to the center subject, which is the industry. And certain things, certain parts of the industry, these peripheral things I'm talking about, they get hot. They get exciting and people want to go to them. Like, the Paul Bunyan show. I've been going to it even before I was a YouTube channel. And true, I don't remember seeing any videos ever on YouTube about the Paul Bunyan show. And then like and then they started trickling in. I was putting some out. And then the next year there's more people, and the next year there's more, and then there's more. So okay, so it starts to get a little, I don't know, stale. I'll admit that. I have found that I don't even really do when I try to do a video at Paul Bunyan, I don't do what I used to do, which was just to walk around and show everything. I try to
Yes.
find
Yes.
a theme, something fresh, something different. But maybe that's just because that's that one element of the industry that's getting a lot of visibility. And then people will eventually move on to something else, or they'll create something new, that brings a new freshness to the way we celebrate the firewood industry.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, again, I don't want to sound negative and stuff, but yeah, it's that very thing. It's like as a creator, it's almost like you have to start looking for ways to like interest people, excite people, without just showing everything, because then there's no reason for people to really be there. They can
Yeah.
sit back and see it and hear all about it 7 different ways till Sunday. And then it's like, oh, all right. Well, I'll
Uh-huh.
just wait till the next show, or I won't go to that one because, it can have, I guess, kind of a negative impact.
Yeah, I I look at it through a positive lens, Dan. We have a lot of international people that follow us. I get emails from my international crowd. They want more videos of me just driving down the road. They love to see the roads and the scenery, you know,
Yep.
stuff to me, which is mundane, but they find it fascinating. um, we can go to these trade shows and show them off. We can stand in front of a splitter and listen to it run. People see this and that's as close as they can get to it, maybe because of where they are or life circumstances or their health or their age or whatever. It seems like that is always one of the people that we, I don't know,
Yeah.
entertain,
Yeah,
that's always going to appreciate us.
exactly. And that's I know exactly what you're saying. But however, when you're driving down the road, you don't have 10 people in the back of your truck filming doing the same thing and showing the same thing you're doing. So that's where it gets to, that's the different, that's a different element as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But isn't that this should maybe be like another episode
Yeah,
of
we
just
might have to branch off here because
the
we're getting
well,
close to striking up the band, but we might have
that's an
tipped into
internal clock we have. It's not a physical clock where we just try to stick around a
the
half
the
hour.
band is looking at me here.
They're going to start charging us a fee. Yeah. Well, okay. It just seems that the industry I'm okay. Let's
Let's
leave this
strike
at
up
it.
the band.
Let's, let's leave this for enough because I was just getting ready to go into like a 10-minute.
Yeah, we need to revisit this.
Let's put a
Yeah.
pin in it, Dan.
Yeah. Put a pin in it. There you go.
Let's table this discussion.
Oh, that's my favorite line. Table it. Park it.
I worked,
Park it.
yeah, I worked at a company once, and the big boss would use that line wrong. That if like a sidebar discussion like this incident were to come up at a meeting, he would throw his hands towards the table and he would say, "Okay, well, let's table this discussion. Let's have it." And then one day I finally pointed out to him that when you say you table a discussion, that means to deal with it later.
Yes.
So he just kind of looked at me and I was like, well, I'll go back to my cubicle. So you're not a team player, Joe.
Right. Get out of here.
Yeah, he's going to stick a pin in me. Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, Dan.
Yes.
I don't want to pay this fee, so let's strike up the band.
Strike it up and tell everyone thanks for tuning in. We will be back. We will revisit this discussion if we remember what we were talking about.
I don't remember what it is.
At another date.
Yeah, I don't even remember your name. That's why I have your name written down here to call you Dan. All right. Well, I will remember, though, to tell people to please, regardless of your streaming service, consider giving us a 5-star review. It really does help with those algorithms finding our channel. Yeah. So, Dan, let's tell everyone out there to videotape
The weather. I don't know. Everything.
Yeah, I just had a vision of 6 guys in the back of my truck. I'd have to get new springs with my truck. Okay, and while you're videotaping everything, you can stay
safe.
Oh gosh, and have
a great day.